197 the 5th of March 16 Skullface on the conspiracy Guojing Nakijun Dui MSF Huai Mi, located in Caribbean Sea Ocean Mother Base, is destroyed by a large number of C4 bombs planted in the legs. Big Boss, who commands MSF, is under the influence of the case. With a few friends from the Mother Base, I will try to escape by helicopter. After that, the accident caused the crash. This incident was later called the Caribbean Genocide. It will be talked about for future generations. Eva is contacted by Zero, the central figure of Cypher. By the hand of Big Boss and the helicopter crew were taken to a British military hospital in Cyprus. It will be, and the man who is carried with Big Boss, the boss, and the man will be in a state of flooding for 9 years. That one man is the medic from Big Boss to the best in MSF. That man is the one, after Big Boss of Phantom, and the man who becomes the last serpent-weaving Metal Gear Saga Venom Snake, and to tell the story of these long-standing serpents into the future. Person entrusted Venom Snake is the person who played this game. It is also the mastermind. Behind the attack on the Mother Base was a top secret. This is a man called Skullface, who leads the non-regular counter-terrorism Special Forces Skullface for its own purposes. To eliminate Big Boss and his organization, MSF, which could be an obstacle, using Huey to infiltrate the Mother Base under the guise of the IAEA. Zero did not communicate his actions, and he arbitrarily drove MSF to the brink. After the helicopter crash, the medic was rushed to the hospital. The medic covered Big Boss as a shield from the explosion, and as a result, the medic took the brunt of the blast and lost his left arm. More than 100 pieces of metal fragments and human bone were embedded in his body. The doctors declared his state so critical they didn't even know if he was still a human being. However, his life was spared in the subsequent surgery, although he fell into an unconscious state that lasted for the next 9 years. During his coma, the medic relived Big Boss's past through forceful reminders from Ocelot. Then in 1984, he finally regained consciousness. Also at this time, his face was reshaped to look identical to Big Boss. He was made to believe that he was Big Boss, and the medic would live the rest of his life as his doppelganger. This doppelganger plan was the brainchild of Zero, his old friend along with Big Boss, who also founded the Patriots after Cypher. In 1972, he began the dreaded Children's Plan by himself. This plan ignited a conflict between him and Big Boss. Nevertheless, he also understood the legendary hell that Big Boss had experienced. Understanding his old friend's decisive journey, he never intended to put Big Boss's life in danger. Zero had Ocelot set up the doppelganger plan for the upcoming emergency. The medic was used as a stand-in for Big Boss to protect him from XOF. Big Boss, who recovered slightly faster than Venom from his coma, heard the truth of the matter from Ocelot. He was perplexed by this plan that was implemented while he was unconscious. At this point, it was already leaked that he had awoken, similar to 9 years ago. It was only a matter of time that XOF attacked to bury Big Boss once more. Reluctantly accepting the plan, Big Boss, as suggested by Ocelot, protected and guided the medic, who had just awoken and could not sufficiently move his body. I lead them. XOF, the stage commencing in the hospital room where the two were recovering, has already approached, in the opening of Metal Gear. Solid 5. The Phantom Pain breaking out of the hospital is depicted as a tutorial. This opening is magnificently exhilarating, isn't it? Was there ever a scene of such tension before? While pretending to be dead as XOF forces gunned down corpses, I lost control of my bladder. The medic and Big Boss ran from the attacked Cypriot hospital. Unfortunately, they were attacked by a helicopter and passed out after the crash. Big Boss escaped while the medic was unconscious. Afterwards, he successfully reunited with Ocelot and hid himself on Eva's motorcycle. From here on out, the medic became another Big Boss. This became a course of action.
Big Boss and the awakened medic did their first job under the guidance of Ocelot. That was when I was commanding the Armed Forces Without Borders in Costa Rica. It was a request from Kazuhira Miller himself, who had been supporting the boss as a three-way player, and he was able to rescue himself. After the Caribbean genocide, he became the center of his own unit and built a unit. Founding of the civilian and military organization, Diamond Dogs. Struggling to regain its former strength, he was attacked by a mysterious group of warlords, the Skulls, and became a prisoner of war on the Soviet side. Here we go. Take back the legend. Venom rescued him safely, but Miller lost his right arm and left leg and was in a dying state. While a part of his deceased body returns with Miller, who spends every night aching in the original room, Venom says he will fight for the future, not the past.
From this point on, you will be the commander of the mercenary organization Diamond Dogs and carry out your duties. Miller, who formed this organization to avenge the death of his friends, is overshadowed by his once cheerful personality. The flames of vengeance are lit and transformed into a different house. His expression must have surprised the brothers who played Peace Walker, as they did at MSF. It has a marine plant-type base off the coast of the Seychelles in the Indian Ocean, and it is also the parent organization of the Outer Haven, an armed fortress state that will appear later in the Phantom Pain. One of the main objectives of the game is to expand the Diamond Dogs with Merrick, who has become the Venom Snake. You gather soldiers across borders and races, reinforce your organization, and develop weapons and bases. You organize mercenary groups that do not belong to any nation. You are no longer Naked Snake. You are Venom Snake.
In the game, Venom Snake gets referred to by this title only by Ocelot. Normally, you are referred to as Boss. Venom also holds the meaning of poison, as well as a grudge. When Ocelot says you are not Naked Snake, it means you are not merely a regular soldier like in Metal Gear Solid 3. Rather, you become a snake that carries a grudge as destiny. And perhaps you are not the real Big Boss. You are possibly carrying the poison of being the Phantom Body Double.
By the way, Ocelot himself goes through the process of strong self-suggestion. He believes Venom to be the real Big Boss in order to prevent himself from spilling the beans midway through. However, could he erase all doubts about the truth? Would Venom respond as expected if Big Boss's original respectful title was used? From the beginning to the end of the game, Venom was the one addressed with the same honorific title used for Big Boss in various scenes when someone called you. These were all tricks played on the player.
Also, Venom did not react to the dialogue when Ocelot and Big Boss first met. During the DNA test on Eli, who would later become Liquid Snake, Eli turned out to be a complete stranger to the one who was originally a clone of Big Boss. There are several hints that the player isn't controlling the real Big Boss. Also, regarding Kazuhira Miller, the fact that he was a phantom during the first encounter when he was rescued by Venom is already zero. In other words, Ocelot and Kazuhira Miller, who become key figures for Snake in the main story, knew from the start that he was not the real Big Boss. As I mentioned earlier, regarding Ocelot, it was later revealed that he had been trying to avoid becoming a rag by self-suggesting. Even for Miller, who was not, he was acting as if he was dealing with the Big Boss. And I, Spander, learned about this biggest spoiler due to the video and thumbnail titles that appeared when I searched YouTube for a stage I couldn't conquer. As a result, I ended up chasing the harsh reality where the fun of enjoying the biggest gimmick is taken away. Now, 9 years after Big Boss disappeared from this world, many mercenary groups that did not belong to the nation begun by Big Boss have been causing chaos in the world. In Metal Gear Solid 4, this form was already established as a war economy and war business. The ideal that Kazuhira Miller was aiming for was there, and Ocelot was already implying that such an era would come in the not-so-distant future. Venom will fight against these mercenary groups who claim to be the real Big Bosses. The story and gameplay experience are in perfect harmony with the belief that they are the protagonist of the story. In a different location, at a different time, the player weaves the story as Big Boss and strives for more power, maintaining nuclear deterrence to intimidate other players. And the player countering that also possesses nuclear weapons, and the never-ending negative chain can no longer be stopped by anyone. The fact that V Awakened will quickly spread, and Skullface, who had tried to take Big Boss's life, was one of them. The Phantom Pain is divided into three main stories: the prologue, Venom's revival, and the dictionary, all along with the management of the expanding mercenary organization DD. The vision of Skullface, who was once again targeting his life by leading XOF, is also depicted. The universal language of the world, English, is erased from the world by representing a variety of countries possessing nuclear weapons, newly born nuclear deterrence and liberation from the invasion of an absolute superpower are depicted. Skullface tried to make this a reality with weapons like Metal Gear Sahelanthropus and biological entities, but ultimately he lost his life to the flames of revenge he stoked, and the player learns the harsh reality that vengeance alone isn't fulfilling. Among the expanding narrative of the Diamond Dogs, main episode 43 is particularly memorable as the one that continues to shine even after death. A sudden pandemic caused by a biological entity breaks out at Mother Base, and there is no remedy for those who've fallen ill. To halt the spread of the infection, Venom isolates and kills the infected staff he's gathered on his own island. This is a shocking and heartbreaking development for him, and also for players who've expanded their organization up to this point. Venom makes a promise in front of the lifeless bodies of his comrades: "I won't reduce you to ashes. You are diamonds." Venom Snake is more kind and warm-hearted than any snake. No doubt this episode allows you to experience that. He refers to all of his staff as family, and he truly embodies that. Personally, Solid Snake is my favorite, but Venom is a favorite of mine among the snakes following him. And are you aware of a touching episode about a character named Leonard Inn, who only appears in the novel version? If you haven't seen it, I encourage you to take a look. Spanda narrates it with tears and passion. And then a point that cannot be overlooked, a series of episodes with the female sniper, Quiet. A strange relationship unfolds between one of the XOF members who interacted with Venom to take his life, and Venom, who tries to save her and walk alongside her, Quiet, slowly opening her heart to Venom, who is becoming a large presence in her father's chest. Yet, among those she has a relation with, it's not as Big Boss but as a medic, one of the people attracted to her original humanity, that she continues to exist at his side, but the two of them cannot continue walking into the future together. To prevent these parasites, the regulated bioweapon inside her, from going out of control, Quiet decides to distance herself from DD alone. And if Venom does so, he might have sensed something like a kinship in Quiet. He might have sensed the sadness deep within her eyes, and might have cared about Quiet. Their immeasurable feelings for each other, which they want to hide from their father and keep secret, could never be communicated. The two will have to say goodbye forever. They will not be able to see each other again without tears. Beautiful and ephemeral mission. Episodes 4, 5. The Silent Disappearance. You can read more about it here.
And like Kazuhira Miller in Peace Walker, Path played a pivotal role. An episode that vividly revives memories of her from that time will also be one of the essential stories about Venom. Pacifica Ocean, a Cypher operative who spent some time in the dark with the Army Without Borders. Along with the dimensional bomb implanted in her body by Skullface, she became unchangeable even by humiliation. In this episode with Path, the memory of her that remains real in the depths of Medic's heart, and the future she herself hoped for, where the gentle sound of peace bells can be heard, will create a magical experience. The end Path truly wanted was a future sadly unachievable, but for players who knew her in Peace Walker, It was a more ephemeral vision etched in their hearts. Next, let's introduce a message sent by Venom Snake to Big Boss on his own volition. This was originally deemed almost impossible to realize, and was prepared as a movie to be seen when all players discard their nuclear weapons. This event was difficult to realize due to the condition that all players dismantle their nuclear weapons. In February and December of 2018, there was a simultaneous nuclear disarmament event on various platforms. Since the number of nuclear weapons has fallen to 0 in an unnatural manner, it has been reported that it may have occurred in an illicit manner. And in July 2nd, 020, almost 5 years after its release, this event movie will be played again. The platform is PS3. Is this a miracle of Venom himself's will? I don't know if it's just because of a decrease in active users. Ironically, however, this phrase is closer to the idea of The Boss, a poem by Big Boss that is more original than any other Snake. It's not about changing the world, it's about doing the best you can with the world as it is. The world should become one. Take a look at the words that Venom sent to Big Boss, similar to the Boss's intentions. Boss, you said, there is no tomorrow for us, but we can dream of the future. But the more we try to live in the present, the farther away the future becomes. We can't do it while we're alive right now, so you have to start now. Someday we will no longer need the tools that hurt people. We will get rid of the demon inside us, and we will have a better tomorrow than today. That's a living testament to who we are. That's right, boss. In this event movie, it was explained that as of 2015 years, there are still more than 16,000 nuclear weapons in the world. The estimated number of nuclear weapons in the real world has decreased from 2015 years to 202, the 3rd of June 12520 shots are reported.
The last of Venom Snake is Outer Heaven, a sudden armed fortress state emergence in South Africa, the setting for Metal Gear 2's Solid Snake. Here, through a solo infiltration of Solid Snake, the medic, shadow warrior of Big Boss, is taken down. Episode 4, 6 of the Phantom Pain, the truth about the man who sold the world, depict. This episode depicts Venom right before he engages in combat with Solid Snake in Outer Heaven, the sound of gunshots echoing. It's an indication that Solid Snake is approaching. In this episode, Venom is listening back to Big Boss's message. There's a lot of speculation about this episode, but no solid explanation. Please allow me to reflect on this from my perspective. However, I believe that even after many years since its release, it's our last mission to continue reflecting on this. I believe this is our last assigned mission. Please share your thoughts about this discussion in the comments. And for those of you who have not seen this episode yet, I personally don't have any spoilers, and I recommend watching this story at least once. Big Boss's message left for Venom. It acknowledges that the medic is truly a part of him, and at the same time, we, the players, are also acknowledged as being part of Big Boss. Director Kojima has made it clear in Metal Gear Solid 5 that he will return Snake to the player. This suggests that Venom himself, as a character in the Metal Gear saga, is trying to present the player as a Big Boss, not a third-person perspective, showing that the player is Big Boss. And similarly to delivering to Venom, the one who will continue to tell the story of Metal Gear from here on is, could it be that you, the player, are the one to tell? I'm you, you're me. Engrave this in your heart, don't forget. Thank you, my friend. This is a message from Big Boss. Words entrusted to those who love the entire story of the Metal Gear series. I think you're being told, It's your role to continue telling this story. In Metal Gear Solid 2, at the end, Solid tells Raiden, "We must tell our foolish and sad history, and there is digital magic for telling them." That's exactly what we, the players, should do. And it's not just the beauty of the Metal Gear saga. Director Kojima talks about how Metal Gear consistently contains anti-war and anti-nuclear messages. Isn't this a message from all the snakes to return Venom and pass it on to future generations? Director Kojima will leave Konami after this film. Metal Gear Solid 5 is also said to be unfinished, but we continue to tell his memes and imagine their end. As Venom snakes, we think we can play a role in connecting the relationships for the snakes who are now on a new mission. Spanda believes it. Yes, we have another snake. It's about connecting and looking for the future. Make the world one. To that end, keep a true outer heaven in your heart. Thank you very much for watching until the end.